Hi everyone. I've got some more questions that I have received from students who have recently finished their oral examination in different countries like India, UK, and Singapore, as well as Australia, of course. This time I don't have many questions for candidates from Singapore. I have a few questions from candidates in UK and India, as well as Australia. All right, so I'll start with the questions here. So the surveyor began the asking of questions from asking which type of ship have you done, and then he started asking questions related to that vessel. So this candidate had sailed on container vessels, so he was asked about torsional forces in containers and how it is removed. Then he was asked about what is heavyweight cargo and what precautions should be observed while handling these heavyweight cargoes, so both loading and discharging heavyweights. I've made videos on this topic. Hopefully you will find it in the playlist of cargo work. Then he's asked about the different classes of IMDG goods and the segregation methods. So 4 basic segregation methods that you probably have heard of: away from, separated from, horizontally separated from, and all that. So they are there in the cargo workbook, as well as you can find them in the IMDG book. So they have been asked that as well. Another candidate sends me questions regarding bulk cargo loading, procedures, and hazards. So you have to pretty much summarize the loading procedures and hazards associated with bulk cargo. So you might get a specific cargo like say coal or grain, and then you have to read up about the properties of the coal, grain. They are the popularly asked cargoes. Otherwise, just summarize the properties of the bulk cargoes and what kind of loading precautions you have to observe, the lashing arrangements, the hazards. So the hazards are mainly associated with shifting of cargo, liquefaction of cargo, testing that the cargo was not wet when loading, so on and so forth. If it's a fire hazard, then you have to make sure that you talk about the no smoking signs, making sure that only authorized personnel are around, talk about the fire precautions as well. So it depends on the cargo, of course, but just summarize the overall loading procedures and the hazards associated with it. Then the candidate has been asked about stiff and tender ships, the difference between stiff and tender ships, and how the center of gravity shifts accordingly. So first you will be asked what is stiff and what is tender ship, what is the difference between them, and what is the role that the center of gravity plays in each of these vessels. Alright, so which one GM is larger than it's supposed to be or lesser than it's supposed to be. That is also summarized if you are reading stability from Captain Subramaniam's book or Derrett's. It's all summarized there. You can find the answers there as well. Then another candidate was asked about the PV valve. So the PV valve is of course found on tankers mostly, or if I'm not wrong, ships carrying liquid cargo. So that is the pressure release valve that we are talking about. So he was asked about the PV valve, then the inert gas requirements, the inerting requirements. When do you inert a tank? What are the requirements for it? What are the precautions, the safety procedures to be followed? So include everything, include checklist, include about permit to work and all those things as well. Talk about the precautions as well. Then another candidate was asked how to make sure your cargo is okay when in transit, and the answer the surveyor was looking for was doing the lashing checks, tightening the lashings, and making sure the vessel is not only loaded properly but it's lashed properly, as well as taking sounding of the bilges or even tank soundings to making sure there is no flooding that is happening. And then ventilation, fire precautions, fire watches. So of course he has not mentioned any specific cargo, but he generally wants to say that once you have loaded the cargo, how will you ensure that it is absolutely it is safe in transit, so that when you reach the next port it is good enough for being discharged. So depends on the cargo, of course. If it's reefer containers, make sure you're monitoring the temperatures, or if it's refrigerated cargo, you monitor the temperatures. So just generally you can talk about the general observations or the general practices you will conduct when carrying different kinds of cargo. Then there was a question related to what to do with cargo residue. So what do you do when you have some cargo residue left? That could be regarding some sludge, or it could be mainly the dry bulk cargo that after discharging some cargo is left. So what would you do with that? So they want to know about that, whether if you're loading the same cargo again or whether you're loading different cargo, what would you do? What would be your procedure? So some of the students say that most of the questions were basic, but the surveys are more focusing on whether you understand the concepts or not, and answer it with practical. Don't give answers from the book. Don't just memorize the answers. The surveyor is basically looking for more practical answers that are more realistic, something that you will be following actually on the ship. So I just thought I'll just make another video on this topic because I'm getting some questions and it's good for you guys to know these questions as well. I will make another video very soon on the latest questions that I will get again from the students, and I'll see you soon with my next video. Let me know whether these videos are beneficial for you or not, and I look forward to your feedback and comments. And good luck with your study, guys, and I'll try to make videos on some of these topics if I have not covered it. The whole idea behind my YouTube channel and the videos is for me to be able to help you as much as I can with the time that I have available so that you can pass your exams. I may not be making the best videos here, but I try my best to help you in whatever way I can, because I thought that when I was a mariner, I used to miss having something like that, a source like that. You have your friends and all that, but having somebody senior than you who has some experience to guide you along both with the practical and the theoretical aspects. So hope you find the channel beneficial, guys. Thank you for supporting and thank you for watching the channel.